All right, what's up, guys? I'm just going to post this on my Instagram real quick, and then we can start it off. But before we even get started, let's just talk about some of the martial arts fights that are going to be happening tonight. There's going to be some very interesting stuff that will be taking place tonight. So, this is definitely going to be a really cool day for anyone who is a martial arts fan. I do truly think that there's going to be a new champion tonight in the Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria fight. I think that Ilia Topuria overall is someone who is just a little bit more hungry right now. I think that Ilya is definitely someone who has the overall skill to get this job done in a manner where it's going to be extremely fun for the fans. I think that this one's going to be probably going to end in a knockout. Sad to say, because much respect to Alexander Volkanovski. He is just overall a monster in there. He's not someone who anyone could really take lightly. He's definitely someone who has a great chance of finishing this fight as well. But just overall, if I had to put my money on either of these athletes, I would definitely put it on Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is just overall a little bit more hungry, and that's not really going to win it for him. I think what's really going to do it for him is his willingness to be hit just to give a hit. And I think that that is something that clearly will do very well in this fight. I think that Volkanovski has a good shot at putting his lights out, I guess. But what we really have to notice is that Alexander Volkanovski is someone who is really good when he mixes it all together. Once he mixes it all together, once he puts those takedowns in after his shots, he really is someone who is extremely hard to go up against. But we see that Ilia Topuria is clearly someone who isn't necessarily going to give you enough room to start getting those setups. And maybe if you even do, he is someone who is great at the ground game as well. So this is going to be a fun one. Both of these people are just overall very well rounded and exciting fighters. So I can't wait for this one. But let me post this real fast, and then we're going to get talking about some of the things that I actually came here to speak about. Because as you guys see, I'm dressed a little bit different than normal. I have a topic that's going to relate to this. I think that realistically, what we're seeing in today's market is flashiness, and we're seeing stuff that is portraying this image that might not be that. So we're going to speak about that. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to post this real fast. I'm looking like a real nerd right now, but let's go. So we got it. All right. So basically, the reason why I came here to say this today is because I do think that this is something that's very interesting to see. As we see today in the market, we see that there is a large demand in stuff that comes in flashy packaging and just comes from people who are kind of flashy, kind of dressed up to a level where people can almost take them serious. It's very odd for me to say this, but people will buy with their eyes. It's a game that people can't necessarily get around. So if there's any way for the people who are actually dedicated to quality to get around this, I kind of feel as if those people have to not necessarily change what they're doing, but they have to kind of adapt in a way. So I definitely feel as if this is a topic that the people overall will be able to get a little bit out of. So let me get my notes real fast. So, hype sales. There is a large crowd of people who will buy based off of the hype that a strain has or the hype that the person has that is selling the strain. So a perfect prime example of this is Young LB. Young LB is a very interesting businessman. He is someone who is very good at being a brand ambassador. He's extremely good at making you want this item that he has because he's going to sell it in all these different ways. He's going to say it in all these different words that are going to make you think you need it almost, which credit to him. He's able to do it in a very good way. He's able to do it in a way where it's not necessarily, I mean, it's fucking the people over. It's definitely fucking the people over. So I wish I could clip in this little clip that I'm going to have. I will be doing a full documentary on Young LB. So I will have that clip that I'm speaking about in that documentary. But basically, if I was to quote what he is saying in that clip, he is saying that doesn't matter if you are selling fake goods, if you're selling stuff that isn't necessarily what it says it is, as long as you are staying consistent and as long as you are putting in that marketing hours and putting in the marketing for it, then you will be able to sell it. It's just how it works. If you actually go about it in a strategic way, people will eventually be like, I've seen this so many times that it's almost begging me to try it. It's almost making me want to try it. So credit to him. He's able to go out to all these different states, all over the different all over the world. Basically, he's gone to other countries as well, and he's been able to market his brand in a very interesting, strategic way. That is definitely something that a lot of people somewhat fail to do. I do see a lot of brands really having a great strategy in their marketing skills, but at the same time, a lot of people aren't necessarily going state to state and having that guerrilla marketing style where they're just forcing it in your face. There's not a lot of people that are forcing shit down your throat. But if you go look at the interview with First Smoke of the Day and BZ Buds, he literally says that's the strategy on selling the bags. Like if you want those bags to sell, force it down their throat. Force it down their throat, which is a creepy and weird thing to say, but it's the way that they're doing it right now. The guerrilla marketing style is clearly working, and I do think that that's an approach that the quality people need to take in a way. I do think that overall, if the quality people really want to see a change in the market and really want to see this hype wave actually go where it belongs in the trash, and the only way for that, in my opinion, is for people to start taking a different approach. So let me use an example. I have this piece of glass right here. This is 100 fucking years old. 100 years old. Think about this. It's obviously not clean. It's not fucking whatever, but I'm not gonna find some like toothbrush to go in there and clean this right now. But what I'm trying to say is this thing right here will last 100 years. Some of these bags, some of these different things that people have won't last won't last a long time at all. People are going to throw it away because it's not really something that you could collect. It's not really an item that's going to go up in value. Like this right here probably was worth some change when they first released it. 100 years later, this is now worth probably the same amount that it was sold for. This is worth $20 now. So just imagine that. Think about the value of investing into the proper stuff to even hold the stuff. So what I'm trying to say is basically in the bigger picture, what is happening right now is we're having this very high schoolish game that's being played on the market where people are clicking up, they're creating these groups and they're creating these little cliques that are helping them move stuff that shouldn't be moved at all. It is very interesting to see. It's very interesting, but it's just the way of the world. We see that it happens in a lot of other markets. We could use clothes for an example. Clothes are super, super easy to scam people with if you do it appropriately. If you have, I'm not going to say gallery department is a scam. Clearly, those are some hardworking people who were able to get themselves to a high level. But take it, but look at it in the bigger picture. Like they're just putting one little logo on the thing, and now it's worth obscene prices. It's not like the material is quality. It's not like any of the stuff is extremely high end where it's being sourced from places that make it worth more. It's just kind of what they've built off having credibility and having a way in the market, which is respectable. It is respectable, but we see that happening with brands like Sprinkles as well. We see Sprinkles literally just slapping a logo on there, building the hype around their brand, and people are buying it. People are spending $100 on an eighth of Sprinkles right now, and that stuff is clearly not going to get you high. It's clearly not going to even do anything medically beneficial to you at all. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So in the bigger picture, what I'm trying to say is that the only way around this weird wave that's going on in the market right now is by people actually investing into their the materials they use for packaging. So I do think this is something that people could really have a huge effect on the market with if people actually start having stuff that is collectible or maybe even going to gain value in the future. That is a extremely slick way of finding a way to not only have your products eventually be able to resell and advertise for you, but it's also a dope way for people to have something that is just kind of like a little bit flashy, a little bit artsy that they could post on their stories and even give you a little bit more advertisement like that. So at the end of the day, I do totally understand the bag wave. I totally understand why people started this. It's an extremely smart marketing move. If you are going to put stuff into a Mylar bag and have your your username on there, have a logo on there, have all of this fun stuff on there, it's not dumb. It's definitely something that's going to get you clients, and it's definitely going to keep you getting more and more clients. But it's also something that realistically is not necessarily going to ever gain value. It's not necessarily ever going to be a collectible item that people trade and sell. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll be seeing those blue Zushi bags, the authentic blue Zushi bags, selling for $1 a pop in 100 years because it went up by like 10x, 20x from what it originally cost. So I do think that people have to spend money to make money. As you've seen with this piece of glass, this isn't something that is extremely high end. It's clearly simple. It's clearly something that people could go and make for a pretty reasonable price if they invested into it and did it properly. So I do think that there is going to be a huge change in the market. So if you see that, come leave a comment on here. Let me know that you were here before the change. And let's get to smoking. I rambled off enough. I definitely think that the Young LB documentary that I'm in the works of doing at the moment, I think that this is going to be a extremely effective and interesting one for the people to hear. Overall, I do think that people need to see it from a different light. As people have seen, or from what people have seen so far, people have only seen the good, and respect for him being able to keep a quality control on that. But once people see behind the scenes of all these flashy, fake people who are just trying to put on an image for the screens, once they see behind the scenes, a lot of those people aren't really flattered. A lot of those people are not flattered at all. And that's why I don't think you can flirt your way to the top. I don't think you can scam your way to the top and have longevity. So we're going to see a big change. And Much respect for anyone who has been here before this big change. But let's spark this joint. I'm gonna smoke some of this Proper Z, and let's talk about the Proper Z a bit. I think that this Proper Z, it's good, but I got some interesting takes on this. I think that the people would definitely enjoy the effects of this. I think that people would definitely enjoy the effects. I did just post a review of it maybe last week. I'm not exactly sure how many days ago it was off the top of my head. What I do know is that Proper Doinks did a video after I released it. They're talking about they kind of were referring to exactly what I was saying. So I'm not gonna act like they were necessarily totally referring to what I said. I don't know. Maybe they had a few other people who were having the same issue. What I do know for sure is that Skittles is usually an amazing tasting strain. Usually is going to be something that is going to just blow you away by the taste. It is just insane how good Skittles can taste sometimes. But this one right here, I'm not really getting that taste. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's very interesting though because they just did a live stream. They're talking about how it's all about how you roll it. It's all about how you roll it. This is a little loose, I guess. It's a little loose, but I've rolled this in so many different ways. I've rolled it super tight, super loose. Tried to do it perfect. Obviously, I think everyone, if you're gonna be rolling, you're gonna try to do it perfect the first time. But I tried it different ways after, which is what they say. They're on their live stream talking about how it's all about the way you roll it. It's all about the way you roll it. And sure, that can be true. Definitely can be true. It's also gonna smoke great in a bong. It's also gonna smoke great in other ways if it's great weed though. So I don't think it necessarily matters how it looks, uh how it's burning in the joint. I don't think that really matters. I think the flower is way more what's the word that I'm looking for? It's way more complex than just the look. I think the look of the flower is one of the last things people should really worry about because can you see it now? How's the flower look now? You can't see it now. It's rolled. It's being combusted where it's literally not going to be able to be seen again. So what the fuck's it matter about the look? You know what I mean? Like I think that's probably the last thing people should be focusing on. But people bow with their eyes. And as you can see, it definitely isn't something that is like it's not harsh. It's super smooth, but it's not something that is really having a Skittles taste. And that could be many different things. That could definitely be many different things. I'm not gonna say it's a bad taste though. I will say that it kind of has that smoke taste. That it kind of has like a I don't know how to word it properly. It's like kind of like a airiness to it that isn't necessarily like a flavor at all. In respect to the Proper Doings people, I'm not trying to be on here fucking bashing anyone. I just think that all quality control should be looked at the same. I'm not gonna um, give them any different respect or different um, anything different than anyone else. I think that they are truly people who are doing this um, that are truly out here doing something great for the game. So no shade thrown to them at all. I just don't think that this is necessarily the Skittles that they were trying to hype it to be in a way. Which it is what it is. There's so many different ways that flavor can be lost. Someone could over dry it. They could do a lot of different things that is going to ruin the flavor a bit. And I'm not gonna say it's ruined. It's good weed. It's great weed, but it's just like to have on a bag that says by connoisseur or for connoisseurs by connoisseurs. I don't know. I think the quality control on this one could be a bit better. But I'm smoking it, so it's clearly not bad weed. Um, with all this being said, though, I will have some interesting content this weekend. I am very hyped up for these fights that are going to be happening tonight. It's going to be some interesting stuff that happens tonight, and supposedly they're going to be announcing the main event for 300 tonight. So very, very interested in this fight card. Honestly, I can't even like throw out too many predictions because it's a toss up with most of these people. I do think that Ilya will pull it off. I think that Ian Gary probably will pull it off. Unfortunately, his confidence definitely needs a little bit of a what is the word? He definitely needs to be humbled a bit, but hey, everyone does. I think that I do in ways as well. So I definitely think this is going to be a fun one to watch. I think that I'm blanking on the other fights. I know that Paulo Costa versus Robert Whitaker. That one is going to be insane. I think that that's being slept on. People aren't even aware how crazy that's going to be. I think Paulo Costa will pull that one off though. So definitely keep your eye out for more content. I will have some very interesting stuff coming this weekend and possibly maybe even the Young LB documentary. I'm in the works of doing a bunch of notes for it, and I want to make sure that I do it proper. So in the meantime, make sure you go check out the Champelli documentary and all of the other content that I have. I appreciate you. Stay blessed.